What is your first creative memory?
Oh, that's cute. That's a cute question. My first creative memories was I was like 10 and I got an iPod Touch for getting straight A's in school. And I wanted to make movies. So me and my 5 siblings went to the living room and we made a movie trailer in iMovie on my iPod Touch. And my mom was so obsessed with it, she still brings it up to this day.
One time I went on vacation to India and I was like there for 6 months. I think I was 8 years old and I was feeling really homesick. So I created a diorama of my childhood bedroom and I still have it.
In the 3rd grade, I was in a storytelling contest and I killed that shit and I won. And there was like 5th grade motherfuckers there, 6th grade motherfuckers there, and I won. And Miss Brown, if you're watching this, you still owe me $20. It was on my brother's birthday and he wanted a free orange pico tea and he got it, but I didn't get my fucking prize money, Miss Brown. So if you're listening, you may have started my creative journey, you may have been a blessing in my life, but it's not too late to send that check. So let me know. Come on!
Bad influence. On the other hand, there are those who are very academic and technical in their approach. They feel that everything should be done according to a set of predetermined rules. Regardless of these basic different lines of thought, there is one basic step that is important to both: the learning of fundamentals that help one to express graphically his ideas and emotions.
What was the first thing you've ever created?
When I was in 2nd grade, I drew a portrait of a horse and I won an award out of all the kids in my 2nd grade class. And from that moment, I knew I was going to be an artist.
Do you still have that picture?
Yeah, my mom has it in her drawer.
Believe it or not, is drawing Spider-Man. So I was a big Spider-Man fan growing up. And I just remember buying Spider-Man comic books. I even bought Spider-Man comic books in Spanish. So I grew up in Mexico until I was 10 years old. Then I moved into the U.S.
Drawing dragons and dudes fighting on a piece of paper. But also I drew a lot of flowers. So there's, yeah, dragons and flowers.
My first creative memory is drawing on printer paper with my crayons at 3 years old.
I don't know about my first creative memory, but the first one that I really appreciated was in sophomore year. I took an intro to graphic design class in high school, and I learned how to screen print, and I made my own streetwear brand and stickers, and I slapped them all across the school. And the cool thing about my professor or teacher, shout out Mr. Murray, the principal asked, "Who's slapping these stickers all across the school?" And he didn't rat me out. So that just, and the rest was history, you know, started that graphic design journey.
Use enough paint to cover the screen well. Pour it carefully onto the tape. Apply constant pressure and pull the squeegee at an angle. Turn the squeegee around and use the same edge for the second pass.
I was in the 4th grade at my school, and I remember it was an after-school class, and I remember at the time I hated after school, like, because it was like my mom was working like long hours, so like, but then this was when everything changed. There was a film class that we got, like a Polaroid class, where it was Polaroid manipulation, and I remember being so mesmerized by kind of like scratching on the Polaroids or like putting it on fire and like just manipulating it, just that idea alone, or like the idea that I could change a photo right here with my hand was like super exciting. And so that sparked everything for me: photography, digital manipulation, everything. And so I remember that very clearly, and it's a very early memory for me. Yeah.
So I was on a bridge in Cuba, and then this part like rural area kind of deal. And I remember having my mom's camera, and I remember trying to capture like the bridge going and my family standing. And I must have been like 6 maybe at this point. So I don't know. I just felt like I really wanted to capture the right angle. And that was the first time I remember being intentional about like what I wanted to capture.
Probably something Lego related, you know. It's probably just like sitting there and like putting puzzles pieced together and having fun. But I think Lego.
My first creative memory is me drawing with these invisible markers on the books where like it would reveal the colors or like the shapes. So I used to always like draw in those and like reveal some crazy like animal or drawing. But I really liked painting and drawing when I was younger. Now I do photography. I like all types of mediums now.
You are in an artist's studio. When you imagine, you create. All of us are creative to a lesser or greater degree. This is why we can better appreciate the work of artists who have developed this gift.
Probably when I was 9 years old and I was really into the Powerpuff Girls. And so I loved art. I liked drawing, painting. So I asked my mom if I could paint my walls. So I ended up doing like all of the Cartoon Network characters on my walls like as a big giant mural. Which is really crazy of her to let me do because I had like these giant Powerpuff Girls, I had like Courage the Cowardly Dog, Johnny Bravo, all of these characters, and I think that's like my very first time that I actually got to like put my like artwork on something.
My first creative memory is sitting in my room alone, and I had these Ninja Turtle figures. Like little plastic figurines, and I would pose them in different poses, and then I would draw them and like create like different scenes with the Ninja Turtles. So I guess it was like figure drawing, but it was all Ninja Turtle based because I was like a kid.
I've been drawing and painting my whole life. My grandfather was a famous children's book illustrator, and so I've been surrounded by it, but from finger painting into Play-Doh, and then finally into using kid pics on the computer, and that was kind of my first Photoshop creation. And I made a little snowman, and I still sometimes show it on my Instagram. And it's like a little snowman with all these snowflakes around it, and he's so happy, and it says Anna, age 5.
Feelings are not tangible, but they may be expressed in tangible ways. The personal feelings of one man about his own world have been the basis for countless artistic statements. Some timeless and universal in their meaning, others momentary and vague.
My first creative memory is probably when I was like in first or second grade. I used to make these zines that were created from just like printer paper stapled together in the middle. So they weren't actually real zines. I didn't know what zines were at that point. And inside I would draw these characters. One of them had like, the main character had like Goku hair and had fire powers. And these aren't like, they're not drawn well. They were just like a bunch of, they were cartoon characters, very like blobs. And then there was this water girl that had water powers. There was this rock guy that was just made up entirely of circles. And I remember I used to draw these characters a lot in like the margins of my notebook. And I haven't really thought about them until I started making this video. I don't even know how to draw them, but I used to draw them so many times. And then in those zines, I actually also used to just make like watered down textbooks. Like I would I would copy textbooks word for word and then sell them to my classmates in like the first or second grade. And I think I used to do this until like I was like in 5th or 6th grade, and then I stopped doing it. And I kind of miss doing it. But yeah, that's my first creative memory.